Hi, my name's George. I'm one of the junior tech fellows here at Queen Square, and specifically I'm working within the AI and the robotics stream within the research group. I'm particularly interested in neurosurgery, mainly because it combines two of my great interests. So I've always been interested in neurological research. Right from the start of medical school, I was working with neuronal stem cells to study various diseases. On top of that, I did a brief bit of work in California where I was looking at NF1 and specifically the dopaminergic neuron structure in NF1 using viral vectors and various fancy bits of technology within mouse models. So that was particularly interesting. And then that combines with my interest in surgery. So I've always enjoyed my surgical rotations. I enjoy the acuity of the situations, particularly in neurosurgery, because in my mind, that's what I always imagined a doctor to be, helping a patient directly at the front line with your hands in a very hands-on way. So my research project here at Queen Square is specifically looking at trust in AI. So we've developed an AI tool, a computer vision tool, which highlights various structures, so the carotid artery, the optic nerves, things like that during endoscopic pituitary surgery. And my role specifically is to look at the trust that the user has in that tool while they're using it. And trust is quite a psychological concept. It involves several different domains, both psychological, emotional, cognitive. So it's trying to distill all of that down into a platform where we can study it in a sort of quantitative way, in a way that we can look at it over time, look at how trust is changing, and ultimately try and foster trust within this technology to improve uptake. So I've built an app, a website app, which will essentially allow us to study trust in this AI tool. So users will be given a set of endoscopic videos and asked to draw around certain structures. They'll then be given the same set of videos, except this time with the AI assistant, and their job will be to essentially use the AI however they want to use it, however they would use it in real life. And then afterwards, they'll be asked how much they trust the AI. And the idea is to track that over time and also change various things that we're doing. So things to do with the user interface, things to do with the AI itself, and look at how that affects and impacts on user trust. And the idea is that we're trying to calibrate trust to a better extent, because well-calibrated trust means that users are using the AI in an intelligent way. They're trusting it when it's making sensible decisions, but also being a little bit more hesitant when things don't seem to be working. And ultimately that helps to improve the safety when you're using these tools. This field is particularly important because patients all the time are in interaction with us. We see them on ward rounds, we see them in clinics, and you have to take them on this journey. And neurosurgery is a big deal to a lot of people, understandably so. And in order to take patients on that journey, they have to trust you as a clinician. And part of why this project is so important for patients is because if the clinician is trusting our AI tool to a large extent, or at least trusting it in an appropriate way, then that means that they can better explain that to the patient and they can better get the patient on board. And ultimately that partnership improves patient outcomes. On top of that, a user that's trusting appropriately means that they can maximize the benefit of that tool during the operation. So for example, if the tool is particularly working well in one particular area and the user trusts it to do that job, then they can speed up the efficiency of that operation. They can make decisions in a quicker, more informed way. Whereas maybe if the user acknowledges the limitations of the tool in another area, that's part of trust as well, then they can rely more on their own expertise in another aspect of the surgery. And that means that you can combine the best of both worlds, both clinician and AI, and ultimately help improve surgical outcomes as well in the theatre. So I'm someone who enjoys the feeling of contributing to some long-term project and something that's going to be impactful in the long run. So success to me essentially looks like building trust in these tools, making sure that we're studying all the relevant parts. And that means that when we try and translate these tools into clinical practice, whether that's through simulation or hopefully in the coming years, moving it into the operating theatre, when we start to do that process, then if we have all of this data in place and we've done all our due diligence and followed the frameworks that we've laid out appropriately, then that means that that transition can be smooth and we can make the most meaningful difference in those later clinical studies. And for me, that would mean that we can translate these tools to a better extent, because it's all very good developing very fancy AI tools that do various bits and bobs. But what's important is that we get those into clinical practice and that we make a difference to patients' lives and operating practice in general. So success to me looks essentially like building on that process, translating these tools, and ultimately making a real difference.